My name's Ben. I'm the franchise sales consultant here at Club Pilates UK. My role within the business is to find franchisees and support them all the way through from their first inquiry, right through to signing their agreement and opening their first studio. I represent the master franchise owner of the UK, De Blankson Fitness UK Limited. So I'm going to give you a bit of a background on Club Pilates as a whole. So Club Pilates was founded back in 2007 by Alison Beardsley. Back in 2007, Reformer Pilates was very much a boutique business. The studios only really had maybe 3 or 4 beds in it. And what Alison Beardsley did, she turned it into more of a commercial business and added 12 beds to her studio to make more revenue and to be able to scale it much faster. She scaled it herself from 1 studio up to 7. I think not actually up to 12, apologies. And then it was acquired by Exponential Fitness, our current parent company. Exponential Fitness are the largest boutique fitness concept globally, and they own 5 different concepts within the boutique space. They scaled it from 12 studios back in 2015 to present day, where there's 1,300 studios in the US alone. In 2019, basically, I'll go back a step actually. You can't actually buy a franchise anymore in the US. It's completely sold out. The only way to get a franchise is to acquire one from someone else or add one to your existing territory. So in 2019, a lot of the existing franchisees decided to go global and open studios across the world. So we now operate in Australia. We're big in Japan, big in Singapore, also across Central Europe. So Spain, Portugal, France, Germany, and then the UK is the next on that roadmap to expand and to grow essentially. So the master franchise agreement was bought in 2023. We opened 3 locations in 2024. So we've got 1 in Fulham Broadway, 1 in Wapping, and 1 in Bankside. So over the sort of from 2024 to the back end of 2025, we basically brought the brand to the UK and tested it, changed the model slightly to adapt it to the UK to make sure that it fit. We got everything, we got all our ducks in a row essentially. And then in back end of last year, we actually launched the franchise model to the UK. Our concept is very straightforward. We have 12 reformer beds in every studio. We have 12 stations alongside that. We have 7 class styles, 4 levels, and we've got a lot of apparatus within the studio. Allows us to give really dynamic and different classes rather than just base it around the bed, essentially. We're a premium product. Our prices for membership range from about £130 a month for 4 classes, all the way up to about £300 a month for unlimited classes. And we really aim it at women between the age of 35 and 65 or 70. Some high-level numbers here. You can all read them yourself. I'm not going to go through them, but just to point out that £760,000 in average unit revenue is based from the US. The average unit in the US does £1 million or $1 million, sorry, per year, which is pretty impressive if you ask me. Over 1,300 studios. So the space. I won't go into too much detail here. You got some pictures again, but essentially the space is really simple. We want ideally a rectangle, but I appreciate that's not always the case, especially here in London. But essentially how it works is you walk in, you should be greeted at the reception. So the photo in the top left, there should be an area to the left where you have the retail. Again, that photo is in the bottom left for you guys. There should also be a cubby area where you put your shoes and have a bit of a mingle. And then behind the reception, there should be a floating wall, and then there should be the studio. And how the studio works is not too dissimilar to this. So you have one side up the left with 6 reformers and 6 stations, and one side up the right with 6 reformers and 6 stations as well. And then at the back of the studio, we have a private studio for private classes, and then also your toilets. There's no changing rooms. It's very much in and out before the class and out after the class. So site requirements, ideally 15 to 1,800 square feet. We won't go less than 1,500, but we will go above 1,800, up to 2,000, maybe 2,200 as top end. In terms of location, we work well on high street, but we will actually probably work better in residential. Because we're a destination place, we don't rely on footfall for people to come in. People book, they come in. And especially in residential areas, we have a captive market, which works really well for us. Ideally, or it has to be all on the ground floor. As I mentioned a moment ago, we have a private training room for all of our studios. And again, 12 reformers, has to have 12 reformers, no more, no less. That is the product. Memberships. So we are, Reformer Pilates generally does tailor towards women. That's natural. We do see the men, more and more men coming. All good? But we're really aiming at the 35 to 65, 70. Women ideally, and more affluent areas. Higher home ownership makes people a lot stickier. And then finally, territories. So we have 3 studios open, we have 3 sold, and then we are targeting all over the UK. We have conversations everywhere, but really that sort of north to southwest London stretch is somewhere that we see from the data working really, really well. But other major cities is also great. So if you want to chat, I think that goes directly to my calendar. So pop some time in and I'm happy to do so.